All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 168 of the On Air Advocate. Where at the On Air Advocate, we look to provide education, support, and empowerment for all of those with different abilities, mental and medical illnesses, and their caregivers. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Tammy Flynn, and I am the host and producer for the On Air Advocate. And I am super excited if you've taken time out this morning to join us here on this live, or whether you're catching this on the replay. And as always, if you think any of the content, it would be beneficial for your network or your circle that we're talking about today, please hit the share button and share the love with others. Well, as you guys know, we have been in our Hope series that is wrapped around individuals, businesses, and organizations that truly provide help and hope to others. And I am so excited to have this young lady here with us today, Catlin Smith. She is a mental health advocate as well as an author. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so excited to have you here and for you to share. You are just such an inspiration. I can't wait for the audience to get to learn a little bit more about you and your book and all of that. But before we get started, because you haven't been on the show before, can you give everybody just a little bit of a background about yourself?
Yeah, so I am from Kansas. I am 21 years old, and I am just looking to inspire a ton of people with kind of my story of how I found my voice in something so many people are silenced by. So, yeah, that's about it.
And so when did that journey start for you? I know that you openly kind of had talked about having anxiety and depression. When did all of that start for you? Before, obviously, the book wasn't a thought, right? At that time, it wasn't when you started having these feelings that you were like, oh, I'm going to write a book tomorrow. So when did those things start for you? About what age?
Ever since I was a kid, like ever since I was about age 5, it started, and I didn't obviously know it, but my dad, he kind of knew. And so as I grew up, it started progressing to having anxiety over testing in school because learning did not come easy for me, to, having anxiety about little things like going out with friends or going to the movies or just little things like that. And so when I was a junior in high school, it started progressing, and I started realizing that there was more of an issue there. And I was kind of able to pinpoint like what it was. I started doing research, and I was like, okay, well, I know for a fact I have anxiety, and I know I have depression. So I stayed silent about it for so many years. And it wasn't until October of 2018, I openly spoke about my journey, and I have lost some friends to it, but I've also gained so many more through my journey.
Yes. And so was there like a platform that you decided to kind of open up about, or you just started to be more, tried to stamp out the stigma and just started to tell friends, I'm having an issue with this, or this is really bothering me? Was it just more just like soft conversations with friends, or was it on a platform that you kind of shared?
I shared it on Facebook. So I wrote a post about like just to my friends and family, and I told them what was going on. And I got so much support from my loved ones that it was almost overwhelming, because I didn't realize that I was making an impact at, age 20 at the time. And so, and then I started opening up about my issues with my page, because I just started my page that year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had started opening up on Instagram and then Snapchat, and the rest has been history.
Okay. And at what point did it like pivot for you that you're like, you know what, I need to write this in a book. I need to share this with even more people in a different type of context, than I am on social media?
The real eye-opener was at my graduation party back in May of 2017. I had one of my friend's moms come up to me, and she goes, you need to write a book about your story, because you're impacting so many others by, what you've gone through, how you're able to handle it at this young age. And so she said that, and then she walked away, didn't say anything else. And so I kind of just started thinking about it. I'm like, okay, I need to write a book. I need to get my story out there, because yeah, I've been through so much, but I can also impact thousands of people one day, and can be that role model for people that they can actually look up to and give hope to.
And have you, you had a ton of support from your family, but have you had any kickback from people? I know you said you had kind of lost some friends. Have you had some of those kind of internet bullies or people that weren't as open to accepting that, or more that they didn't really say anything, they just kind of faded from your life?
I've had some people say something about it to me, but it was more of like close friends that I thought were my friends. And so when I started saying that, I'm like, okay, well, clearly you're not my friend if you're not supporting me in this, because only my real friends would accept the real me, the real authentic me. And so when I went through that process of kind of losing a couple friends, I'm like, okay, I need to figure out who my real friends are that are willing to accept this part of me that a lot of people do tend to struggle with. So
Right. And so when that mom approached you at your graduation and she said about writing the book, how long was it before that you were like, you finally put your pencil to the paper or your fingers to the laptop and started writing?
it was a couple months after, actually. I had just turned 19 over the summer, and I really wanted to, I don't know, just find a way to get my story out there. And I've always written since I was a kid. Ever since the moment I could pick up a pencil, I've always found a way to write. And so writing for me was a great coping strategy to kind of figure out, like a like, okay, like this is where my mind is at. This is how I can solve this. This is how I can grow from that. And so it was my freshman year of college. I started writing that book, and it took me about a year and a half to write it completely.
And where did you come up with the title for the book? Was that like,
I just kind of thought about it. Like, it was just like I was going through some ideas and like, okay, well, I had so many people doubt me, and I'm like, okay, well, I came from a failure state of mind to actually succeeding and proving a ton of people wrong about myself. So
yes. And during this, because you talk a lot about how writing became that therapy, kind of a strategy for you to deal with things. And it was actually, did you get like that feeling of relief when you're done kind of putting it to paper?
yes. Yeah, because for me, I am such an introvert and quiet person, and my loved ones can tell you that. It was
Mhm.
just like being able to write, and I would write for 3 hours at a time on my journal, and it was the best way for me to kind of release anger, release anxiety. And after I would write, I felt 1,000 times better just by able to put words on that paper and being able to kind of think like, okay, someone's actually going to read this someday.
Yes. And do your blog that you do, the Inspired by Catlin, that started before that, right? Before you wrote the book? Or did you start that after you wrote the book?
I think I started after yeah, because I had started my blog in September of 2017.
Okay.
So then it kind of just followed right after of starting the process of writing that book.
Okay. And that's something more frequently that you post on, you post different blogs and whatnot. And from you using the strategy of writing a book to kind of relieve stuff, have you ever asked your audience like different ways that they use that helps to relieve stress, or things that maybe you've heard for others that suffer with anxiety and depression? For you that's writing, do you know some other strategies young people your age have used?
Yeah, I have some friends that actually go for runs. I have some that, go for nice long walks when the weather is actually nice here in Kansas. And yeah, I mean, for me, like exercising, a lot of people tend to do that. I mean, that's just one of the many ways that people can actually release those feelings.
Right. And healthy ways, finding healthy ways
Right.
that are good for us to relieve those. And we talk about that a lot on our show about self-care and finding those ways, for relief of like mental stress and whatnot. And so for everyone, it is a little bit different, but you also going with a passion of writing is wonderful. So now in the book, if someone were to purchase the book, what does the book kind of take you through? I mean, obviously the beginning of your story, and then different chapters in the book.
Right. So I actually have it right here.
Good.
Yeah. So this is I actually republished it through Kindle. I'm not with my current publisher anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, so this is my copy of the book, and it kind of just entails like how from being at age 5 to, being underestimated
Mhm.
to suffering like all these mental health issues that that I have been speaking about. So when I believe I was about to turn 12. My dad and I, we became homeless, and my book will speak all about that. But so we were homeless. I was getting ready to go into the 6th grade, and then December of 2010, actually, I moved from Dallas, Texas, to here in Kansas, and still like the struggles continue. They continued to hit me straight on because I am a kinesthetic learner, which is very, very hands-on. And so if you were to sit me down and lecture me about, a topic, I wouldn't understand it. Well, that was something that a lot of my teachers weren't understanding. And so I kind of had to turn my mindset of like, okay, I do have this not learning disability, but kind of like one,
Right.
to being able to kind of conquer that and make it to graduation because that was my goal. And so I went all through high school. I ran cross country and track in high school, and um, so when going through high school, I was underestimated, and this is something a lot of people don't know. And when I spoke about my journey in my book, it was kind of like, okay, I do have this issue. My counselor was doubting me. I had one of my teachers doubt me because I was trying to run NCAA in college,
Hmm.
and I had to have a certain class credits to make that happen. Well, since I am a kinesthetic learner, it was a little bit harder for me to do that. And so when I was told that you can't do it, you can't, it's impossible, no one has ever attempted it before, I remember looking at my counselor. I'm like, watch me do it because I'll be the first one to do it. And so sure enough, I went through high school, I went through graduation, and I was the very first person in my high school's history to have done such a thing, to really have overcome everything that I've been through. Because I did spend a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of nights frustrated that, angry at God, like why did this happen, like why am I having such a hard time learning. And then a lot of that came from anxiety, because you're being told this every single day. You're being told that you can't do something that you really want to do every single day. But my dad, he's always told me, turn that frustration into motivation. And so that's kind of what my book entitles, and not only the mental health part, but it's like other aspects of life that triggers that. So
Well, I cannot wait to get a copy and read your book. And
thank you.
we can come back on as well and talk about it. We can talk about it more. Now for the future, because I know you are an inspiration and you're not going to stop. You take each day as it comes, and you keep on moving forward. And so for the future, what are some plans that you have? I know that you launched your first book about a year ago, started your blog. What are some hopes to come?
I want to travel. I am a huge traveler. I went to Europe for 2 weeks back in 2017 after I graduated high school. And it's been such a passion of mine that I've been finding ways to kind of make a living for myself because I'm currently still living with my parents. And I've been finding ways, how can I make my goals happen? Like, I want to become a motivational speaker. I want to be able to be kind of that role model for young women who are struggling mentally with their emotions. Um, so yeah, I mean basically like the motivational speaker is kind of my ultimate goal. Like that's what I truly want to do. And also like for me, my faith is very, very important. And I do spend a lot of hours at church volunteering. So I kind of want to stay true to that while also getting to my goals.
Yes, and you said that you are working on your second book, right?
Yes.
Now, do you have a name for that yet, or I have to wait till you'll come back on when you have the name? When you have it?
Um I I keep changing the title, but I think I'm gonna go with my original title name, which is called From Fist to Fighter, and that also has a really valuable meaning to that because It was funny. I was actually talking with one of my friends a couple months ago about the title, and she goes, "That suits you because anytime you get frustrated and mad, you tend to put your hands in the fist." So I'm like, you know me well now because she's been my best friend for 8 years, and so yeah.
From fist to fighter.
Yes, from fist to fighter. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I cannot wait for that book to be released. And Catlin, you can do anything, and you know that. You know that, but I'm going to reiterate it. And I'm sure that anybody who is listening to this show today, the same. And, you know, we would love to support you in any way that we can. And so if somebody wants to purchase your book, what is the best way to do that?
Do it through Kindle right now because my previous publisher actually is still selling my book, which I'm trying to get that resolved. But and then I'm also working on getting the physical copy as well, which is going to be more of a smaller version, so there'll be a little bit more pages in it. And the second version I created, it actually has an extra chapter in it to where I do speak about mental health more specifically. So
Can you hold up the book just so people know what the cover
yeah,
looks like? So if they hop on, and so they can just hop on to Amazon?
yeah, hop on to Amazon Kindle and it'll be on there. I think I don't know what the price is. I think it's like $4.99, I think.
Okay. Okay. So
So
very, very reasonable. And after we're off of the show, can you drop that link below in the comments
yes.
so that people can just click onto that? And then what about your blog? So your blog, do you blog every day? Or if like somebody became a blog kind of subscriber following you, about how often do you blog about mental health?
24/7. I try my best not to miss a day, and there's also days where I just cannot seem to get a blog up, but most of the time there will be a blog up early in the morning. And my blog will kind of vary to mental health, to women empowerment, to business. And I've been focusing more on the business aspect, mainly because that's what I'm trying to do is kind of grow my business right now. So yeah, you can expect a blog every single day at around 10 a.m. Central.
Wonderful. So, and also when we get off the show, I'd love for you to drop that link below as well. And I think that I tagged Inspired by Catlin up at the top too of this. So I will tag that again for you guys to follow. And you are doing it. You are an inspiration. I am so happy that we finally connected and that you were able to, you're actually the wrap up. And could there be any better wrap up than having you on to our Hope and Help series? And speaking out, that's the whole thing about mental health is they talk about is we need to stomp out the stigma. You know, everybody needs to know that they're not alone. And by you speaking up as a young person, as someone who's 21 years old, you were speaking up in high school, you know, whether it was popular or it wasn't, that's what creates change. That is what
Yeah,
is
I agree. Yeah.
in our world. It really is. So I'm so thankful that you were able to give us your time this morning on the show. Is there any thought that you would like to leave the audience with today?
For those that feel like that they're struggling, whether it's their relationship with Christ or whether it's mental health or relationships in their lives, because I can all relate to that. Just know that you're not alone, that every day is a new day, and how you wake up will determine how your day will go. So just keep in mind that. So
Thank you so, so much. You're going to have me in tears. You're awesome. You're awesome. I'm so happy that you were here today. Everybody, I hope you have a fabulous Friday. Have a wonderful Valentine's Day. Remember to spread kindness and love. If you want to know any more about the On Air Advocate, head on over to onairadvocate.com. If you want to become part of our private group, head up to the top of this Facebook, hit the blue button, and that will let you in. And Catlin will drop all of her social media stuff below so you guys can follow her. Get in.
Follow my page, please.
Yes, definitely. Head over there. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Catlin. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.